Before the recent rebalance patch, the laser cannon wasn't great. It had poor armor penetration, passable damage, and terrible ergonomics. But now, this thing is a beast. Welcome to an Idiot's Guide to Helldivers 2. Before we get into today's video, this series is sponsored by 1G Server Host, a top-of-the-line server hosting platform running on the best hardware available. With 1G, getting a private server for you and your friends has never been easier thanks to their intuitive server configuration and top-notch customer support. If you're looking for a server hosting platform that will never let you down, pick 1G. Without further ado, let's get started. The LAS98 Laser Cannon is unlocked at level 5 and costs a modest 4,000 requisition. Being a laser weapon like the LAS-5 Scythe, the laser cannon consumes no ammunition in exchange for instead having a heatsink. As long as this weapon is firing, heat will build up. If it overheats, the heatsink will become unusable and must be exchanged for a new one. When not firing, the weapon will cool down over time and will continue to cool even when not currently equipped. The laser cannon is capable of around 10 seconds of sustained fire before it overheats and has just one spare heatsink. The LAS98 is perfectly precise, with no deviation whatsoever from wherever your reticle is aiming. However, its accuracy isn't perfect since when firing, the laser cannon will tend to rock back and forth slightly. Additionally, this weapon is shoulder-mounted. Because of this, the point where the laser is emitted is offset. While typically not an issue while in third person, in first person you may have to account for this offset depending on the range at which you are firing. The laser cannon is a fairly flexible weapon. It fires wherever you aim it and hits instantly. It is only limited by the user's ability to track targets and the turn speed allowed by its ergonomics. There is no single correct way to use the laser cannon. It does a fairly good job at horde clearing, doing a decent amount of damage, and is capable of swapping targets with ease due to its lack of recoil. Additionally, it also works as a light anti-armor weapon, capable of piercing all but the heaviest of armor. Despite not being able to pierce heavy armor, its nimble ergonomics and easily controllable beam make it one of the best weapons to use against exposed weak points. Barring chargers and biotitans, the laser cannon is capable of killing every Terminid unit within seconds from any range. Prioritize targets depending on the current balance of power between your team and the bugs. As long as you remain vigilant, even hunters suddenly become a lot less threatening when you don't have to worry about leading your shots as they dodge back and forth. When facing off against the two much larger bug types, treat the laser cannon as you would your primary weapon. Focus your fire on the charger's weak point, and do your best to draw aggro away from your team's dedicated anti-tank weapons. Against biotitans, there's not much you can realistically do against them, so focus on the small and medium-sized bugs until something blows a hole in their armor. Against the bots, it's a lot more clear on how exactly you should be using the laser cannon. While you can still use it to clear out light infantry fairly effectively, the bigger threat from the Automatons is their heavy infantry. Whether they're sitting back and lobbing rockets, or relentlessly marching forwards, Devastators are a constant threat. Their armored torsos prevent most small arms weapons from being able to do significant damage, and although their heads remain vulnerable, they can be annoying to hit with ballistic weapons at times. Striders are the one bot unit outside of hulks and tanks that give the laser cannon a little trouble. While not impervious to the laser cannon, the heavy forward armor of the walkers takes a fair amount of sustained fire in order to punch through. Unless you're fighting them at longer ranges, it's usually better to try to outflank the Striders or handle them with grenades. When it comes to hulks and tanks, the laser cannon does pretty well. Although you won't be able to directly pierce their armor, simply aim for the weak points and you'll do just fine. The laser cannon is also a great tool for destroying heavy cannons and other heavy weapons emplacements without expending ammunition or stratagems. The LAS98 Laser Cannon is the Swiss Army knife of Helldivers 2. There's very little that it cannot do, and will have a solid role to play in virtually all situations and equipment compositions. It's a very easy weapon to use, and is the perfect support weapon to bridge the gap between general purpose and dedicated anti-tank weaponry. Hey, thanks for watching. I now have a Patreon, so please consider supporting me there, which will allow me to focus entirely on making new videos. If you want to see more of the shenanigans Regnum Malum gets up to, check out our main channel. Alternatively, if you want to get in on the action, join our Discord. Links to both are in the description. This is Nappa, Eye of the Apple, signing off.